Okay, looks like we are, maybe.
I see live. I see that we're live. We're
All
here.
right, we are live. Yeah, sometimes it takes a second. So, welcome. I'm Corey Wildslay, and I'm live in Write That Book, Build Your Business. And I am a writing coach, book editor, and best-selling author. And today we have the fabulous Dr. Shellie Hipsky with us. And I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a second. So we used to work together on Inspiring Lives magazine, but before that, we've known each other for years.
Forever.
So, or like ever, yeah. I met Shellie soon after I moved to Pittsburgh, and you know, I mentioned this in one of my list emails. We met salsa dancing, and we've just had so many common interests over the years that we keep doing projects together. And I am thrilled to interview Shellie today about her 13th book. That's a lot of books. So I'm going to turn this over to Shellie, let her talk a little bit about who she is, what she does, and then we're going to start talking about lots of books. So Dr. Shellie, go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. So hi, I'm Dr. Shellie Hipsky. I am the CEO of Inspiring Lives International, which is a motivational media company. I am also the executive director and president of the Global Sisterhood to help women and children in the world with that. And under that header now is Inspiring Lives magazine, which I've been the editor-in-chief for many years of that and the founder of it. We do different events like the Empowering Women in Business and Philanthropy Awards, and we also do humanitarian efforts. And Corey, you were on the board of that too, so we've so many memories going back all the way back to He Had It Coming.
Yes. So even before the Global Sisterhood and Inspiring Lives, Dr. Shellie was not only doing her job as a tenured professor, raising her kids, but she was also fundraising because she has such a huge heart that she decides to take on these big projects to help organizations, which later that turned into the Global Sisterhood and, you know, the charity surrounding the Global Sisterhood charity, and all the work surrounding that. But back in the day, Dr. Shellie and I did some fundraisers with the Homeless Children's Education Fund, and she was belting it out, and I was one of her backup singer and dancers, and yeah, we had lots of fun.
Lots of jazz hands, lots of
jazz hands. Lots of Broadway show tunes. Yeah, so let's start out. Let's talk a little bit about book number 13, because I know that that is what everybody is excited to hear about. Shellie's doing her book tour right now, and we are one of the stops, so very excited. Ball gowns to yoga pants. So let's talk a little bit about what the book's about, why you wrote it. Let's just start there.
Okay, so well, we also have to admit that you have edited so many of my books too, Corey. I mean, like, there's so many layers to this onion of our friendship and working together. And this is what, like, if you look at the dedication page, it talks about Corey Wildslay because she's that good. So she knows this very intimately, this book, and it really it's not like it is a guidebook to build your authentic brand and company. So that has been what I've been doing all along since I left my tenured professor position. I took that leap of faith. And so people keep saying, like, how did you do it? How did you do the 13 books? How did you run a company? How did you run a nonprofit? How did you keep sane while raising 2 kids and going through a divorce and then getting remarried and all the things that I've gone through building these entrepreneurial ventures? And I had to sit down and say, okay, how did I how can I help other people manage to do this with their own life if they have the goal of creating a business or a brand? And so many of us do, particularly right now during COVID, and we're looking around us and saying, oh my gosh, you know, just had to homeschool my kid and I can't go back to the job that I had, or I have this side hustle and I want to make it grow. So that's what Pants is for many people that are reading it around the world. It's their guidebook to find that success with their own businesses and brands.
Yeah. And I remember when we were first talking about this, it feels like a century ago because we've had that like COVID, I don't know, multi-decade couple months that we've been going through. Yeah, anytime somebody's like, oh yeah, such and such back in January, I'm like, oh yes, when I was young. It just feels like it was so long
when
ago.
you were a redhead, back when you were a redhead.
In January? I wasn't a redhead in January.
No?
I don't know what I was. But it just, yeah, it was maybe a couple years ago that we were kind of chatting about this and where this book was going to go and what kind of stuff you wanted to put in it. And, you know, I've watched this book grow. And as Shellie has, you know, thought about, you know, the different parts of her adventure as being an entrepreneur, like that kind of stuff gets poured in. And one of the really cool things you know, as I was editing this book that I really appreciated was that she's not only sharing her journey, but she's also saying, oh, and you know, here are some little snippets of advice from entrepreneurs that might be a little more well-known too. So it's not just Dr. Shellie, it's other people's experiences. So you're getting this very well-rounded look at what entrepreneurship is like for, you know, somebody who's been in it for a few years or, you know, a few decades for some of these people. So it's a very interesting way of handling that book, and I really liked that.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I also, we are both researchers and we love to dig into research. So I wanted to go and see, you know, how did these multimillionaire entrepreneurs make it? How did Debbie Fields with her cookies and Sarah Blakely with her Spanx and Joanna Gaines with Magnolia, like how did they do it? And so I went into those and then I pulled those out, and then I not only took the research, but then I also found the questions so that you could soul search and you could figure it out for yourself based on the path that other mentors in the book have done. So it was a fun journey, definitely.
Yeah, and it's something that you know, some people come to me and say, oh, I want to write a memoir, I want to write about my experience. But when you add that layer of, you know, here are the questions that you need to be asking yourself, it really gets the reader involved. And when you're doing that, you're getting them to connect with you. So it's like you're personally asking your reader questions. It's like you're saying, hey, let me sit down with you. Let me work through this. And I know you've been doing some coaching too. So I wanted to talk about how the books are connecting with your coaching and how you're using them in your business.
Absolutely. So I'm on my 4th cohort now of the Empower You Masterclass, and there's 3 different ways, 3 different angles of how we've been taking those coaching and classes to the masses, from, you know, all over the world. Women have been doing this class, finding inspiration, empowerment, balance, and abundance. But when it comes to utilizing the book and the questions, I mean, I'm a teacher. That's, you know, I was a teacher. I was an assistant principal. I was a professor. I love to teach, and I love to get in there and say, okay, this is, let's take it. Let's make it your own. So I created this 7-week curriculum. And then I've been working with people both in cohort models. So they're going through together. They're becoming like a tribe of incredible powerhouse women around the world that come together and they learn all this together. Then I also do my VIP one-on-ones, wherein I'm meeting with them weekly. And then and I have a really fun one of my clients right now is 16 years old, Cynthia. She is doing an amazing job with her entrepreneurial venture. She's been written up in all these business journals and the NAACP for her entrepreneurial work at such a young age. But then also another model that we've been doing is called the Brilliant Business Board. And that has been so cool because we bring together around literally a boardroom table and now Zoom. for your particular project. So for example, Rebecca in Canada had a very specific company that she was creating, and she needed like a marketing person and a legal person and a person that really knew like the back end with the numbers, and a creative person. So I got all of those right brains around the boardroom table, and we were able to just really do a deep dive. And she said that like within these few hours of working with her brilliant business board, that she was able to change her personal business and her whole mindset more than she would have coaching model program, just because we had those right people. I'm such a believer in that friendship and connection and networking and just making it happen and getting those right people together. So that's been another wonderful way to implement the Empower You Masterclass.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember hearing a little bit about the business board recently. My shirt is attaching to my chair, so if I'm moving funny, that's what's going on over here. I've never worn this at my desk before, and it's like
okay, well,
it's like having
just like shake it out.
So if I'm just shimmying over, what's going on? Yeah, so I remember back, when I was young, a couple of years ago, when you first started the Empower You Masterclass, and when you were talking to people about joining that, and this was before Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants. So this was after the best-selling trilogy Common Threads, where you talk about empowerment, inspiration, and balance. And I remember hearing you talk about what inspired you and how you got that idea for turning that into a trilogy. And Shellie has this great story, if you haven't heard it, about being, involved in the passion of, creativity in the middle of the night and writing on her, on a sheet, those 3 words and hanging it up in and being like, this is it. What's that?
I grabbed my daughter's paint set and I took red, yellow, blue, all the primary colors. And I was like, I made them in 3 different fonts with my painting. And it said inspiration, empowerment, and balance. It was in the middle of the night. And I'm just staring at this. I put it up on a curtain rod in my bedroom. And I always say, I'm so glad that I was not married at that time, because whoever I was living with at that time would have thought I was a total wackadoo. Because here I am threading up this old sheet with painted words on it. And I was just staring at it. I was like, what does it mean? And then it just the one word came to me. It said trilogy. And I was like, oh, that's it. It's the trilogy. It's not just one book. So then to those moments of okay, it doesn't have to be exactly the way other people did it. I didn't at that time didn't know anybody that had created a trilogy. I didn't know that I was going to create a trilogy.
Right.
But you just kind of go with the flow and go with what your gut, your yoga pants. This went through so many iterations of what it was going to be called and what was going to be inside it, but you get there. There. So, and Corey's so good at helping pull those things out of people too. You're a dynamite coach with that stuff.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But one of the things I actually loved about that story was that was your jumping off point to turning this into the trilogy, right? And then you actually used that inspiration of having those 3 books to create the course. And I remember when you were going through that, and then you were using the books as part of the lead magnet to get people into the course. So those books became so flexible, it wasn't just, oh, I interviewed people and I put them in books. It was, I interviewed people, I put them in books, and I've turned books into a course. And then here's the books with the course. So it was
even further, even deeper than that. I mean, it all came from the Empowering Women radio shows. Those interviews came from that. And then at the towards the end of writing those books is when I realized, I was told by Henna in Pakistan, who listened to my radio show with Hasina Patel in South Africa, because I was Skyping into those classes and doing empowerment circles with the young ladies there. She listened to that and she said, Dr. Shellie, do you know what you're doing here? And I said, no, what am I doing here? And she said, you're creating a global sisterhood. And that's when the whole model for the nonprofit was born. So, I mean, like books can just open up literally an entire world for you, or a whole for you, however you want to look at it.
I feel like, whenever we look at how your books have worked with your business, we almost need one of those big, like room-sized boards with all the magazine clippings and then the yarn between the pins, like detectives have.
I think you're right, or like a major flow chart that, like,
yeah. Yeah, because the books inspire you, and things have inspired your books, and like everything has connected up. I want to say perfectly, but I'm sure it's never a perfect process. But everything has connected up, and you have made such good use of things that you already had by as the example that you gave, the Empowering Women radio show, turning those interviews into books, then turning the books into a course, and then all the way flash forward to today. When we're doing the Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants book, that is going to be something that you can use very flexibly too. And
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing with that book. So now, like, I know you reached out to me and said, hey, I wanted to talk to your group. I wanted to do an interview. How are you using your book in that capacity to get more publicity for you?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've been interviewed by USA Today about how I did a pandemic pivot with my companies and my nonprofit, and with the book. I mean, the book launch is so different than they usually are. As you know, like typically mine are like very dramatic, glamorous, we're all getting glammed up, we're on the red carpet. Where I had, of course, with Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants, had planned a whole fashion show. Hello, because that's kind of one of my shticks, right, Corey?
Of course.
But I mean, things morph and they change, and and now we're all virtually. But I've got 4 different that I'm taping today, and I'm just constantly going and collecting reviews and just making it happen. But then in the back of my mind, like you said, how are you going to change this into a course? How are you going to change, so we had the Empower You Masterclass, which is we've got alumni that are, total advocates of that. We've got their testimonials. They love it. But now I'm looking into an Entrepreneur You, that I will probably be creating that masterclass down the road. So you're inspired, you're empowered, you're balanced, you're ready to go because you did the Empower You Masterclass, and then you would go into the Entrepreneur You Masterclass to really just create that dream business and brand with the Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants as sort of your textbook. And with the Common Threads books, that was almost like your textbook, if you wanted to look at it that way. Much more fun than the ones that I wrote for Pearson back in the day when I was teching academically for the traditional classroom. So now we get to do it just in a different way. It's all about, just what are your skill sets? How do you bring them to the table? And how can you make it happen in this crazy new world that we're in, and monetize it? That's the other trick, right, Corey? Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody's like, okay, I got this business, I'm doing this, I'm doing the social media. How am I going to monetize it? And that's one of the things that we dive into in the book as well.
Yeah, and I have to say, knowing you for as long as I have, it's been interesting to watch you evolve and change and pivot. And I want to say it feels effortless, because there's always like, oh, and now this, and now this, because there is that sort of flow that follows your interests and follows where things are going. And, as you're noticing, a lot of people who are taking Empower You, for example, a lot of those people, they really want the next step. They want to move on. So now I'm going to give them that. You are always very aware of what your audience needs and wants, and then you give it to them. So that's just always been very interesting for me to observe as a friend and as a fellow entrepreneur. And even, today, like you were talking about doing these book launches. So can you tell us a little bit about how you're planning on doing the book launch, since we can't physically do a fashion show in person and, celebrate in person? What are you doing instead?
So I'm doing so many things online. Obviously, I'm just putting it out there constantly. I still do down the road want to bring everybody together for a fashion show and all that fun. And you know that we will. And it may be, heck, it could be a year from now. We have no idea when that'll be. But for right now, I'm doing the whole media circuit. I was so blessed that when I put out the call for reviews, over 100 of the people that know my product and my entrepreneurial ventures and those things read the book and gave it all 5 stars. So right now, if you are one of those people, I would love for you to go put those reviews on Amazon, or if you're reading it, or because as we know, particularly during this time, those reviews they're gold. They're everything. So and I'm being sold everywhere from Barnes and Nobles to Target to Books A Million. So we're just trying to get all those incredible people that are reading it to get those reviews up and online. But really, I'm reaching out to my audience and providing content. That's I think what you need to be doing during this time. And I'm doing it through the major media outlets because that's, where I'm connected in. So it's been fun. It's been a great time. And I can do it all from home.
What was that?
And I can do it all from home and and with my kidlets, nearby, like you do with yours.
And we can wear a ball gown and yoga pants at the same time and nobody knows.
Exactly. We can wear whatever we want, please.
And, something I noticed here, I just want to point this out in case no one else noticed, you haven't been shy about asking. You don't sit there and go, I wrote a book. I'm just going to put it up on Amazon and cross my fingers and hope that someone finds it. You actively ask people, will you review my book? You're reaching out to media outlets. You reached out to me and said, hey, and I was like, oh my God, yes.
You're like, oh wait.
Yeah. So, that's something that people have to be aware of, is that you can't just write a book and say, this is going to help me with my business, and then do nothing with it. It's,
right.
It's the same as buying a hot car and just parking it in your garage. You're not getting anything out of it. Why did you put in the effort on that? Yeah. And that's something I have always seen you doing, is you're not just, like, people think that when you're being creative, when you're a writer, you're just sitting in your closet or your dungeon or wherever you sit and no one's around you. There's no interaction, but you are always out. You're always talking to people. You're always saying, hey, I'm writing this book. So let's talk about that. When you started writing your book, did you keep quiet or were you shouting it from the rooftops?
You know me.
I know you, but I want you to tell everybody how you handle this.
No, I am always putting things out there, like, and that can be either an inspiration or an annoyance to people. And you know what? That's okay, because those aren't my people. If you are annoyed by me saying, oh my gosh, I've got this book, I can't wait for you to read this chapter because you're going to learn, that it's not just who you're not going to get it. So if that bugs you that I said that, then you don't relate to me. It's not going to happen. Then you're not my authentic client. You're not the person that I'm trying to connect with. And you're not the person that's going to buy the book in the long run, or come on to my Empower You Masterclass, or help with a big fundraiser that I'm having with the Global Sisterhood. You're not going to be the person like Corey who would put on a song and dance with me. Like I love my tribe. I love my people. And so, yeah, I'm always out there and I'm always making those connections 24/7, as you know. It's all the time. And I do think that that's one of the reasons that I am so international, is that I don't sleep much, as you know. But I am always constantly in everybody's time zone. I'm up and I'm making friends and helping people. And, I'm giving back to people and into other people. So then when it comes time for me to say, hey guys, I need this review because I really want people to see this book and I can't have my big party, then people are like, oh, okay, Dr. Shellie needs some help. Let's do this. Like, I can take a few minutes out of my day and write a review and pop it up there. That's not going to hurt me any, and it's going to help her. And then I know that when I need help, she's going to be there for me. That's how it works.
Exactly. It's all about building relationships and supporting each other and getting out there. So that being said, you admitted that you don't sleep. Um, so that gives me permission to talk about that.
Yes.
So since I know that you are, so passionate about the stuff that you do, and you do have a lot on your plate, you have written a lot of books during your career. How do you keep excited about this and not get burned out?
I am so passionate. You know that about me. Like, I feel like if you really stay on purpose and in your passion, in that zone of brilliance, like you can just keep rocking and rolling and making it happen. Like I don't see any stop to this. Like 13 is my magic number. Yes. But like, I can't even, I have no idea how many books are going to come out of me. And my best friend, who I've been besties with since, I was a little kid, always says, I have no idea what you're going to be doing next, but I always know it's going to be exciting. And I always know people are going to want to be a part of it because it's fun. I'm on passion. I'm on mission. I'm helping the women and children of the world. Like that's just what I love to do. And then the other people come around me and they're like, they build me up because they're like, oh, I want to help women and children in Africa, or I want to do this with you, or I'd like to have my own brand. And I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's make it happen. Let's do this. So yeah, I'm probably going to be like that old lady in the nursing home that's still like, yay, I love life. Let's make it happen.
I'll bring my tap shoes.
Okay, yes. I always say I'm still going to be belting out Big Spender in the nursing home.
I mean, when you're excited about something, it never ends, right?
It never ends. It never ends. Absolutely.
And if you're watching this video, I want you to notice too, that Shellie gets excited about what she's talking about. She's excited about this.
Well, that.
She's actually got people on either side of her holding her arms to keep her from being like jumping up and down. But when you get excited about this kind of stuff, you're excited about your book, you're excited about what you're writing, you're excited about your, what you want to do and change in the world, other people pick up that energy and they jump in with you. So there's never been a time that Shelley's called me and been like, hey, so there's this big problem and I don't know if we just want to like belt out show tunes or, what, I don't know. Like she is always excited about it. So when you're working on your book, if it's something that you find isn't exciting you, I think that's a time to stop and, kind of back it up and look at it from a bigger perspective and say, is this what I want to be doing? I mean, clearly all of your stuff has been on point. It's been aligned with your mission. But if it hadn't been, you probably would have said, all right, I need to slam on the brakes and see what's going on, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we could take it back to my former marriage. Like I had to put the brakes on. I was like, look, this isn't working for me and my life. And there's some major issues here and I got to put the brakes on it. So yeah, I mean, there have been times when I have started a project and change. Now that sounds awful to me talking about my marriage.
Well, it's a good example though, because I think everybody's been in a relationship where you had to say, all right, this is not working out. We got to figure out what's going on here.
Yes. And we got to figure out what's really going to work for the trajectory of my life and my career. And also you need to know that you can change it up at any time. Like there was a time when I thought I was going to be a tenured professor for the rest, and that was who I was here to be. But now I know that if I would have stayed there, then I wouldn't have been able to make the world my classroom. It would have been those four walls at the university forever. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you just have to really look around you and say, is this where I want to be in 5 years? Is this where I want to be in 10 years? Of course, with COVID, nobody thought we were going to be where we're at right now.
Oh no, this is on my 5-year plan. I'm gonna lay low and just do a lot of video.
Oh, yeah, me too. I am such an extrovert. This is not exactly what I would have picked, but there have been some blessings
Mm.
in the quarantine aspect, so that I could kind of sit back and pivot, make some changes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's given everybody a little bit of time to, well, I mean, unless your kids are running wild all day, it gives us a little bit of time to kind of step back and examine what we're doing and say, is this where I want to be? Is this where I want to go? Maybe this is opening an opportunity for new things to do. Some people have had to change their businesses to an online model, or
Mhm.
they've had to, drop back and figure out how they can do, a lot of Zoom calls or a lot of videos instead of speaking on stage.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because there's been some people that have seen the ball gowns to yoga pants, and they're like, how did she know that we were all going to be in yoga pants?
Oh, they thought the title was like, yeah.
And it's true. I mean, we have all had to, come out of our formal wear typically and put on our yoga pants and still get to work, and sometimes take it online and just change it up. And that's what I'm excited about with this, is that there's so many people that are out there that, I mean, with the unemployment rate and all those things, like there are people that are out there that need this book right now in their hot little hands, and they can fill it out and look to the questions and look to the success secrets. I mean, like, here's one of the questions: how does your family fit into your business plan or your chosen profession? Can you incorporate them? Like, let's think about how many ways we incorporate our kids into our businesses. And I love watching your kidlets. Like, they're stinking adorable, and they bring a humanness and a cool mompreneur vibe to all your brands, Corey. I love them so much. I love what you do with that. So, I mean, but maybe they didn't think about that until they read this book. And then it goes into different, and the example for that one is Jessica Alba and the Honest Company, and how she created a unicorn of a company, which is a $1 billion company, with her kids, and based on a need that her children had. They needed healthy skincare, and she created that business out of her home. And luckily she had branding behind her, but we can all get the branding now. It's like the playing field's kind of leveled out now, because we're all at home. Even the big stars are at home.
Yeah.
So,
as long as you have that messaging, though, as long as you know like what your message is and what your passion is, like a lot of times people don't even need the rest of the stuff around it. It's just stepping up and saying, hey, I'm me, this is what I believe, and this is what I'm offering you.
Absolutely.
And this is a time for everybody to be, kind of doing a little soul searching and saying, you know what, I got that. I have a drive, and yeah, my kids inspire me, or my kids inspire me to figure out something else, whatever direction you're going with that. But
absolutely. But being real, being authentic, whoever that is, you got to do it, because otherwise, I mean, I think it would be totally exhausting to be putting out a fake self for branding, and you're not going to get the right clients. So please, whoever you really are, like I am the person that loves to get glammed up in a ball gown and put on my red bottoms and do all that, the makeup and all that. But then I need that time when I'm running around with my cell phone and my kids are driving me nuts, and I'm in my yoga pants and I'm making the deals and I'm on the laptop and I'm, doing all the things. So if that's who I am. That's why I put out Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to come up with your own books with Corey as your person helping you guide your whole practice with it. So, and I think you've just done an amazing job, Corey, of just putting out, you've created community, and you're just doing it all. So awesome.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you mentioned about, people putting out more books and, discovering all those things that they want to share. So I wanted to ask you about your creative process, aside from, painting your sheets. When you start getting an idea for a book, what kind of process do you go through?
It's been different with each one. So back in the day, it was predominantly academic books. And I've literally published every single way you can publish. you know, I worked with Pearson on the textbook.
Mhm.
So that wasn't as like creative and free flowing by any stretch of the imagination. It was, every single chapter that I submitted got reviewed by 21 experts around the country that were professors, and like they knew their stuff.
Yeah.
And every single one of them wanted me to change something and didn't like this or like this. And I had to make them all happy every chapter. So for that one, it was a little trickier on the creative part of it. But with me, like well, you know, I need to be around people, which COVID's hard. So many of my books and my hundreds and hundreds of articles that I've written have been written in coffee houses, noisy, like bars, literally. Like I will sit there in a bar because I'm a night owl, and like they are open until 2 o'clock in the morning. So I would sit in a bar with my laptop. And people thought I was bonkers, but I didn't care because I was writing.
We are totally opposite of that. I'm like, I need a cave. It needs to be dark and quiet. And if there's a bear, that's fine. But they don't bother me.
No, I need the buzz. I need the human connection. And I need to hear little bits of snippets of conversations. Like, so if you were in the bar and you saw me in my laptop, I was listening to you. But no, one of my favorite writing pieces is in the book when I was in Paris, and I got to sit in little swanky cafes and write away, and you know, it was so cool, and like underneath the Eiffel Tower and getting to do that. I mean, like that was like the dream writer experience for me. I went on a writing and yoga retreat with a bunch of powerhouse ladies, and it was just phenomenal. But yeah, no, I literally need people. I'm gonna start singing. Who needs people? I'm sorry. I'm one of my masks, my COVID masks actually says it says I don't break into show tunes. Oh wait, yes I do. I had to get that one.
Perfect.
Yes.
Do you break into show tunes when you're writing, or you stay pretty?
Absolutely. No, if there's a song on my heart, I gotta let it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm you know, do a little chair dance with it.
Yes. Yeah. As it turns out, you know, us all being home so much, I try to do that kind of stuff, and my kids are just like, "Good grief, lady!" Like I'll burst into song.
Yes. You're supposed to.
I'm getting a lot of that. I know.
Me too.
I want them to think that's normal.
Absolutely. So my daughter Alyssa is actually doing the show must go online, because she can't be in a theater right now to practice. So now they're doing an online musical. So she is now the little Broadway belter of the house, and she's kind of taking up the family tradition. As you know, my mother raised me on the stage. She ran the local theater, grandma. She directed us in something, one of the Chicago pieces. But yes, so this is another thing about me. I'm like a cat, and I see something sparkly and I just start batting at it, and it's probably driving Corey mad because she's used to have like, you're a focused woman.
Pretty much.
Do I drive you insane when we're writing books together, when I'm writing a book and no? Okay.
No, because the way I function is I see the structure and I just have to go and pull you back in.
Absolutely.
Pull you into the structure. Yeah.
But if I didn't do the shiny, happy stuff, then I wouldn't be me, right?
Exactly. And then you wouldn't be attracting your ideal audience.
Exactly.
So to, put a bow on it and finish the show. So where can people find you aside from everywhere? Specifically, because Shelley's all over the place whenever we aren't, in quarantine. She's traveled the world, dancing, singing, presenting, speaking.
Oh my God, I missed those names.
So where online can we find you?
You can find me in multiple different places. I would love, like, particularly because this audience is writers, I would love for them to go look at inspiringlivesmagazine.com. And if they have a article that they want to submit, like 300 to 400 words, like they would help them to process, you know, what they're doing with their own books, or to start getting that message out, as long as it's inspiring and it'll affect the hearts of empowered women writers. I would love for them to go to inspiringlivesmagazine.com, and you can actually connect with me through that. So that is one way. There's a little contact form. You can do that there. I really want, because I know there's a lot of incredible women out there, make sure that you are connected through the Global Sisterhood, which is the 501c3 nonprofit. So you can go to globalsisterhoodonline.org for that. We are always looking to pull the right women together to help with the hashtag pop-up giving we're doing, and giving back. And they can always just find me at s.hipsky, inspiringlivesmagazine.com. They can just email me and we can get together. And I would also like to offer, like, if you're really struggling and you need to make that pandemic pivot with your business, with your book, with your company, with whatever's on your heart, but you're like, oh my God, these kids are around me all the time, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't make it happen yet, I need to talk it through with somebody who's been there. I'm right here. And I think, Corey, you're going to put up a link for that tomorrow so that
Yes.
people can pop onto my calendar, and we can just have a little chit chat, short chit chat, see how I can help you out. And we'll go from there. Maybe you'll be one of my Empower You Masterclass students down the road. Who knows? But you're definitely going to get ball gowns and yoga pants. Yeah. I'm not shy.
Is that already available right now?
It is.
Okay. All right.
So go to Amazon, Target, Books A Million, Barnes and Nobles.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Can you hold it up and just hold it still? There you go. All right. Make sure you run out and get a copy. Well, don't run out.
You don't even have to. Click.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah.
And then,
a copy.
what are they going to do after they read it?
They're going to read it again, because there's so much good stuff in it.
They're going to write a review.
Oh, yes. You're going to write a review. And you see what I mean, though, because you can't be shy about asking people
to
give reviews, especially as an author. You need to ask. You need to be like, hey, just a little reminder. Send out an email to your people. Post online. Hey, if you've read my book, make sure you give me a review. Authors love reviews. And since you're watching this video, you want to be an author, you need to love reviews. And always do it for your friends too. Yes, so pick up your copy of Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants. Make sure you're journaling, answering those questions, because that is some good stuff in there. I know, because I edited it. So I read it like serious reading.
You did. You go through with a fine tooth comb, which I absolutely love. So, and a lot of the people that are reading it that don't even know me, they love the pages that are kind of fancy pants, and they're all Dr. Shellie Success Secrets. I had someone in India was like, oh my gosh, I love those. I'm going to like clip those out and put them around my office. I was like, cool, very cool. They're gonna have all the success secrets. So yeah, please get Ball Gowns to Yoga Pants, connect with me, write for Inspiring Lives Magazine, be my friend.
Of course, all of that.
Yeah, all of the above. Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Shellie. It was awesome talking with you today, catching up and sharing about your book and all the other good stuff we shared. If you have questions for us, I've been kind of watching, haven't seen any questions, but if you have questions, drop them in the comments. Make sure you are, interacting with us. Message Dr. Shellie. That was s.hipsky at inspiringlivesmagazine.com. And we will hook you guys up with the link tomorrow. That is July 22nd. We'll hook you up with the link tomorrow if you want to book a call with her to chat about pivoting your business or what's going on with your business. So again, thank you so much, and yay!
Yay!
Da, 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 da. All right. Well, we will sign off before you guys get to hear us sing. And we'll talk to you.
Excellent. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.